from a drawing board, or are you chained to one?
He's actually trying to finish the film.
There you go. Now to the far left is Ed Jones. Now that's special effects Cinesight. We've also got Bruce Smith at the far right, and in the middle is Tony Cervone. You guys are the co-animators, as I understand.
Co-animation directors.
Okay, now, integrating the animation work with the special effects work, was it one of the chief nightmares, a learning experience, both of those?
It was an opportunity and a challenge, and for us, this is the largest mixed media film ever to be done. About 1,200 shots. We integrated traditional animation with CG animation, with virtual environments, with live action green screen to create what we feel is a seamless illusion.
Now, each of the three of you, what project in your own background best suited you for what went into Space Jam? Let's start over here with Bruce.
I worked on Roger Rabbit, and I like working on projects that challenge the medium, you know? And so this project is probably the one that really sort of prepared me for this one.
Well, I've worked on some commercial spots and things that involve both live action and animation. And I've worked a lot with Warner Brothers Television, with the Animaniacs show and their other shows. So I think kind of the comedy, cartoon comedy kind of stuff kind of had me a little bit more prepared for this.
For me, it was Roger Rabbit. I put Roger Rabbit together, and that gave me the patience and understanding how this would all come together.
But you know what our press book says, that Roger Rabbit is like an LP on vinyl compared to the CD of Space Jam. Is that
That's right. Yep. There you go. Probably now Roger Rabbit is like the 8-track. So, you know.
My goodness.
There you go. Because the medium just...
dead.
Yeah, exactly. And we're dead, yeah.
Now, presiding over you guys behind your shoulders is the immortal Bugs, named after Bugs Hardaway. I guess it goes without saying that you all grew up fans of this stuff.
Huh? Oh, absolutely.
I mean, were you maniacs about this stuff as kids?
Hey, I would say, you know, I was sort of into the whole 60s, 70s thing, so I kind of gathered a lot of television, you know, Looney Tunes stuff, and a lot of the television animation that was, you know, offered at that time, but also some of the Disney stuff that was around that time also. But I really attached myself to what the Looney Tunes were about, because they were sort of playing on a different level, you know, in terms of their humor and everything. You know?
And Tony, were you always drawing?
Oh, sure, I've been drawing as long as I can remember, and it was a great way for my parents to kind of keep me occupied and keep me quiet for a little while. If I wasn't glued to a television, I guess I was glued to a pencil and paper. So.
And did all three of you guys have a chance to meet your own heroes? Not necessarily the animated characters, but the great figures in the animation business.
Oh man!
Like who? You know?
Yeah, I've met, you know, I mean, I've met Frank and Ollie. I mean, I certainly, you know, love what those guys have done through the years. Met Chuck Jones. He's a great guy. There's a lot of people that you know, I mean, I'm kind of a young guy. I mean, you know, unfortunately, Milt Kahl wasn't around, and a lot of the younger Disney guys. But I mean, those guys really inspired me to really take it to the next level.
I wish Friz Freleng could have been around for this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Again, one of the godfathers of what you guys do.
Absolutely.
Now, is this the start, Ed, let's start with you. Is this the start of a new series of animated adventures with these characters, both feature and short?
Well, I think the potential is there, as far as especially on the feature side. And I think it's really up to how we want to use these characters, whether it's the traditional Looney Tunes or whether it's the new characters, Lolo, the Monstars have been created, and what paths they go down. I think what it's also the start of is the definition of the future of filmmaking and what we can do with the combination of this mixed media.
Now, a paradox here for you two animators. As these characters get more three-dimensional, and you know, the modeling of the forms here is really quite amazing, especially in the house. When Bugs and Daffy go to raid the undershorts, that's a long story. But, it almost looked rotoscoped. I mean, as these characters get more real, do they begin to leave cartoon land and come into 3D land?
I think to animators, they've left, you know, we're either in cartoon land or they've left a long time ago. So, you know, the characters are both very real to us. We have to worry about their personalities and maintaining their attitudes and all that kind of stuff. But visually, I mean, I think that the scene you mentioned in the house really is the closest we've ever come to making a photorealistic Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck in a live-action environment.
Yeah, watching them walk, I thought these are people, not animals anymore.
Sure, and the camera, you know, the camera is moving in the same way it would be filming a live action movie. We never paid any attention to how would we animate this later. We try to take all the styles of all the cinematic styles of live action and apply them to the animation of this movie.
And Ed, through the special effects, I guess we viewers, are starting to lose that boundary line between the two worlds, aren't we?
We hope so.
Have you guys lost the boundary line once in a while between
I think
these
we
two
have
worlds?
lost the boundary line. What we tried to achieve is just a whole new world, and this was the Space Jam world, so that the audience would look at this as whether you were an animated environment or a real environment, you would assume that everyone coexisted. In the case of the game, the stadium is just a virtual environment. It was, built in a computer, and it had to look as if it was a regular stadium that seated 25,000, 50,000 people, and they were all cheering and, really getting into this game.
Of course, the people in the stadium are all cartoon people.
I know. I kept watching them back there. Schlesinger Auditorium, is that an in tribute or an in dig at the immortal Leon?
It's certainly a tribute. I mean, Leon Schlesinger was the producer. I mean, he was the one who sort of allowed these great directors. I mean, he gave them the ground to nurture their talents.
Yeah, by ignoring them.
Yeah, exactly.
By having the foresight to ignore them and let them do what they
I was
do.
going to say,
Absolutely.
do we have a few seconds? Tell people what Termite Terrace was.
Termite Terrace.
Termite Terrace was the Warner. It was I don't think it was on the Warner. Was it on the Warner Brothers lot?
It was, I think, often an outbuilding.
Yeah, I think
shunned.
it was
from
like
the
a shack where all the cartoon directors and
Yeah.
their crews worked in the old days, in the 40s, and late 30s and 40s, and that had to be a pretty nutty place when you think about the people who
Look
were
what
roaming
came out
those
of
halls.
it. Right.
Right.
And there's all kinds of Termite Terrace stories that have come down through the years.
Alas, no time for that. But in closing, in spite of all of the high-tech production value going on here, is there still room for the artist and a pencil? Now, you guys are drawing and doodling.
Yeah.
Can the artist still just work on a piece of paper and still
You got to
come up-
remember that the high tech, the computers, is only a tool, and without the artist's skills, you're not going to do anything with the computer. Probably still the neatest invention ever made was the pencil.
And while I've got you guys on camera, you are going to give me one of those drawings, aren't you? Huh?
Especially one just for you.
Listen, I want to thank you all. It's Ed Jones, Tony Cervone, and Bruce Smith. The latter two, the co-animating directors, and Ed Jones with the special effects. What an amazing jam
All right.
this is. Animaniacs, all of you guys.
Yes.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. And I'm
Kudos.
John Tibbetts for KCTV 5.